Before a single ball's been kicked this season, two of the most respected voices in English football just told you something most fans don't want to hear. The title race is already decided. Not close. Not competitive. Decided. One club is so far ahead that the real debate isn't who wins the league, it's who finishes second. And a club that's actually playing Champions League football this season didn't even get mentioned in that conversation. So what does a panel of ex-pros see, months before the season means anything, that makes them this confident, and this worried about everyone else? Every summer this panel sits down and predicts the season before it starts, and most year it wasn't. Asked who wins the league, the answer came back instantly. Arsenal. Not, Arsenal have a chance. Not, Arsenal are favorites. Described as being so far out in front that the conversation moved past it almost immediately. That's rare. When a panel that usually argues about everything agrees on something this fast, it's worth understanding why, and it's not just about the title. It's about what happens underneath it, where almost nothing is settled at all. The Arsenal reasoning wasn't complicated. They spent the summer reinforcing the exact area that cost them the title before, bringing in a defensive midfielder to sit alongside their captain, and an attacking player specifically to remove the one obvious weakness. Across almost the entire pitch, there's barely any drop-off between Arsenal's first choice and their backup. The one position where that used to be a real problem has now been fixed. When a title challenger closes its only genuine weakness in the same summer its closest rival is regressing, that's not really a prediction anymore. It's a formality. And that's what makes the rest of this genuinely interesting, because the clubs supposed to be chasing Arsenal aren't building, they're managing decline. Manchester City lost the player one pundit described as the entire foundation of their midfield, and without him, the panel couldn't even construct an argument for City winning the league anymore. Not, City will struggle. Just, remove that one player, and the case for City doesn't exist. An entire superclub's title hopes, reduced to whether one midfielder stayed or left. So if City are compromised and Arsenal are out of sight, who fills the gap? Here's where the panel genuinely split. Three different clubs for second place. One pundit backed Chelsea for a reason that has nothing to do with talent and everything to do with fixture math. No European football this season. No Thursday night away trips. No midweek recovery windows lost to travel. Just a squad that gets to train, rest, and peak every weekend while its rivals grind through a second competition on top of the league. It's the exact trick that's nearly won the title for teams nobody expected before. Strip away the distraction, and a good squad starts collecting points. A great squad is losing to fatigue. The panel even floated what Chelsea's best available front five could look like on paper: Fernandes and Caicedo behind Palmer, Rodrigo, and João Pedro, and admitted that on pure attacking talent, it might be the best in the league. The catch, they were quick to add, is the goalkeeper and defense aren't anywhere near that level yet. But here's the part that should genuinely worry a specific set of fans. One club spent the summer signing genuine Champions League quality talent, kept its Champions League football, and didn't get a single mention anywhere in the conversation about the top of the table. Aston Villa, a team playing continental football this season, essentially skipped past like it doesn't exist in the race at all. Why? Because while everyone tracked who Villa signed, almost nobody tracked who walked out the door. The squad lost several of its most experienced players over the summer, and what's left is a group the panel openly admitted they don't fully understand anymore. One pundit called it a genuine mystery, not pessimism, just real confusion about the club's identity right now. A team can add talent and still lose itself if it loses the wrong personalities in the same window, and that may be exactly the trap Villa has walked into. Now here's where the panel disagreed the hardest, and it's the part worth paying attention to if your club isn't in the top two. Fourth place. One pundit admitted, on record, that he genuinely could not separate two of England's biggest clubs for that last Champions League spot, and had personally changed his mind 4 separate times over a single weekend. 4 times. That's not indecision, it's an admission that this whole tier of the league is now that volatile. The gap between Champions League club and no European football at all might come down to one bad week in November. If breakdowns like this, where we actually dig into why the pundits landed where they did instead of just repeating the predictions, are useful to you, this is exactly the kind of content we build every week. Subscribe now so the next one's waiting for you. Down at the bottom, the panel flagged 2 promoted clubs as the real relegation risks, not on reputation, but on specific, visible cracks. A young backline that keeps getting split open, and a squad still adjusting to Premier League physicality after a rough preseason. A third promoted club that beat a Big Six side early got almost no credit for it, dismissed as a fixture quirk rather than a real signal, which tells you how little early season form is trusted by people who watch this league for a living. There's a wider theme the panel kept circling back to that's bigger than any single club. English football is falling behind at the very top of the world game. When this summer's international tournament reached its semi-finals, across all 4 of the best teams left, only a single attacking player from the entire Premier League started a match. 1. That's not a talent problem, the league still produces attacking players. It's a coaching problem. The panel pointed out the last time English football had this level of managerial firepower, genuine title-winning, culture-building coaches, was nearly a decade ago, and most of the current crop are still auditioning for that status, not confirmed in it. One name kept coming up as the exception worth watching, Newcastle's new manager, who the panel described as carrying himself with real presence in his first big interviews, sharp and unafraid in front of the cameras, the kind of personality that could make him one of the ones who breaks into that top tier if he gets the recruitment right this season. On Individual Talk, the panel's picks told their own story about where the league's attention actually is. Their top scorer pick wasn't a surprise. The reigning favorite, even after a rough finish in his last outing, still trusted to lead the race again. Their impact signing pick split between a raw, highly rated young playmaker moving to a club desperate for goals, and a leadership signing at Arsenal specifically brought in to remove risk from their spine, someone the panel called maybe the best value business done all summer given the fee compared to what others cost elsewhere. And their players to watch picks leaned young, a defender who's played barely a handful of senior minutes but already looks composed enough to help carry more experienced teammates through a season, and a breakout attacker at Chelsea whose fee alone means anything short of double-digit goals and assists will be treated as a disappointment. So here's what this panel actually told you, underneath all the individual predictions. The title race isn't a race anymore, it's a formality, because one club fixed its only real weakness while its closest rival lost its entire foundation. The genuinely unpredictable, nail-biting fight this season isn't for first place. It's for 4th. It's for staying up. It's for figuring out whether last season's hierarchy even applies anymore, because City's dominance, Villa's rise, and the promoted team's survival odds are all being quietly rewritten in real time, and even the people paid to predict it aren't confident anymore. Predictions made in August are basically promises nobody can keep, and this panel knows that better than anyone. By November, half of what they said today will already look wrong. That's actually the fun part. So here's the real question, which prediction do you think ages worst by Christmas? Arsenal running away with it, Villa missing the top 6 entirely, or one of these promoted teams actually surviving? Drop your pick in the comments, and subscribe so you're here when we come back to see who got it right.